Hello and welcome to SPE courses. My name is Paul Wohlfarth. I'm an assistant professor of economics and finance in Daejeon in South Korea, where I teach statistics and programming to mainly business students, MBA, and marketing analytics students. I now got the pleasure of introducing this new course in an introduction to Python for economists with SPE courses, which we have previously taught in offline mode at Birkbeck in London, and now, given the circumstances, have decided to take online or to additionally offer as a shortened online webinar. I'm sure, as professional economists, you're all aware of the importance of data analysis and data science to economics, which is ever evolving and which is getting ever more complex. And with that increased complexity, we have an increased need to use automated solutions and to use programming languages to address empirical problems. This course is introduced to offer these tools to address these problems, because it's one thing knowing about this, and it's another thing knowing about or finding solutions. So we have a lot of different programming languages available, and there are a lot of tools available. And I believe Python is the ideal tool to start off with, because it's a very flexible language and it's relatively easy to learn. And what we do in this course is we offer a very simple introduction to Python, a brief introduction to Python, and then sort of tailor it in the end a little bit to economic applications. So our target audience for this are particularly people who have never worked with programming before, or at least haven't worked with languages such as Python before, so you don't really have any prior knowledge on this. And just are looking for more efficient ways to organize their workflow around data analysis, and who then particularly look for some economic applications. And here we're particularly focusing on empirical applications, which is what I believe where Python is most interesting. Right. This course comes in 8 parts. We start off at a very base level, a very ground level. And I think this is one of the advantages of this course, is because Python has a lot of tools available and is in some ways a little bit different from other programming languages and other statistical packages. Typically, you may be used to having like one particular tool you need to go to, one editor, one software package, and you've got everything in there, and that's it. And you don't need any further instructions, and maybe well, a little bit of a manual, and that's about it. Unfortunately, that's not really the way it works for Python, because Python is an open source software and is very flexibly designed to address very different programming challenges, which is what is its main advantage as well. So it sits sort of in between a lot of different programming languages. Because that is, it's also having a lot of different ways or a lot of different solutions to work with it. So where we start off slightly differently from a lot of different other courses is that we offer a bit of an overview of these different solutions and these different approaches to begin with. So that we sort of give you a little bit of a path through all of that jungle, or all of these different options that are available to you. So this is what I call the Python ecosystem. We then talk a little bit about how you actually work with Python. So without actually telling you how to write scripts, this is just mainly about how to use the tools that are available. And then we have the remainder of this workshop looking at actually then writing scripts and looking into first some basic programming tools or some basic programming knowledge that we need to address. So there are things such as definitions of objects, variables and data types, and assignments that we need to talk about, which is particularly important for Python as an object-oriented programming language. We will talk about simple mathematical operations in Python and calculating with things such as arrays and scientific mathematical applications, and introducing the different libraries that are linked to that. And we then start getting into the core of what this course is about, which is particularly working with data. I believe this is one of the main strengths of Python and of programming languages such as Python, is to automate a lot of the work that goes around or that comes with analyzing data, and the workflow that comes with analyzing big data sets or many data sets and organizing that. So we will talk about that. We will talk about the go-to libraries and the main functions that you use for this. So how to read and write data, how to change data sets, how to combine data sets, and how to do some small data cleaning exercises. And we then have a small section as well where we talk about scaling things a little bit. I'm only going to address this very briefly, as this is a very complex subject, and a lot of this will be left for more advanced applications, but we will introduce a little bit on control flow statements. So we will have a small session on this. So control flow statements are things such as for loops and conditions, if and while conditions and the like. So we can have these conditional statements and automate things in those ways. Then we talk about plotting. Then we talk about data visualization techniques. I'd call those some basic data visualization techniques, because as the general theme is for this workshop, this is a short workshop of a couple of hours, which is meant to be as a first introduction. So this is your entry into the Python universe, if you like. There are lots of things to explore, and we're considering offering more specialized workshops on this further along the lines, but these are giving you the main concepts of how to work with plots, how to work with some of the techniques that you can refine and replicate in other settings. So you learn the very basics and the very basic structures in those courses, the very basic techniques, with maybe some more advanced applications here and there, but only very few. And then there is a huge universe of further more advanced graphical and more advanced, otherwise more advanced applications to things we do here out there that is left to explore. And then lastly, we end this course with a little bit of a turn back to the main theme of what we're doing here. This is an introduction to Python for economists. So we'll talk about economic applications, and the two main applications I'll be focusing on here will be empirical applications. So we'll focus on demonstrating how to use so-called application program interfaces, or APIs, of main data providers or main research or government institutions such as the Federal Reserve of St. Louis, the FRED database, or the World Bank, or others, to obtain data, to automate the process of obtaining data and to visualize this. So you can use with some very simple, just a few lines of code, with just a few lines of script, you can get some very simple and optimized and very nice data reports with that. And then we take it a small step further, and I introduce some the go-to library to do economic modeling, or to do statistical modeling in Python, called stats models. And we will introduce how to run simple regressions on this, and the main techniques on how to set that up. There are a number of materials that we will provide with this course. So first of all, you will have installation instructions. This is going to be like a small mini textbook. So it's just about 20 pages or so, where I give you some of the installation instructions on how, or a separate file on some installation instructions on how to set up everything, but then also a little bit of an overview on what tools are available in Python and how to use them, and where I address some of the issues that we don't address in the lectures. Then you will have the lecture materials we'll use here available separately as sets of slides. They will be written in Python, actually. So these are so-called Jupyter Notebook files or IPYNB files, and I will make those available. And one of the purposes of making those available is not just so you have a reference of what we dealt with here, but also so you have a blueprint of how you can design slides like this that are executable elements in them, where you can execute code, demonstrate codes in a slideshow, how you can design those yourself. And we will obviously provide the data sets we will use for demonstrations here as well. So if you're new to programming, or if you're considering on learning more about programming to sort of manage your workflow around data analysis and economics a little bit more efficiently, then I can warmly recommend you this course. And if you're otherwise interested, of course, I can recommend this as well. So do please all sign up, do join us. And with that being said, all that remains to be said is for you to enjoy the workshop. And I hope to at some point be able to also see you and some of the other workshops we will hopefully soon be able to offer in person again. Thank you very much.